Anyway, he established an entity. Let's just say that, and registered it as a 501c3.
Is this it?
Um,
That what you're
uh,
wanting to see?
oh no, that's for the Newcastle County where he has his school. We can talk about that.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So his school is located in Wilmington, Delaware, just across the border from Philadelphia in Newcastle County, and this is the address of one of the buildings for his school. By the way, the school is called the Douglas Frederick and Marcus Garvey
I saw that too. I'm like, wait, what?
International Leadership Academy. Some bogus name, Um, or an inspirational name if it was ever a school. He's gotten exempt commercial uh, tax status for his entity there. I don't want to call it a charity because that's not what it is. So he doesn't pay property tax. He does have to keep up the property though, and he does owe quite a bit of money on upkeep fees like mowing the lawn and stuff like that. He doesn't do that, so the city charges him I think $3,000 a month or something like that.
Oh
Yeah,
man. I mean, hire somebody.
exactly. But he doesn't because he doesn't care. He's just the school is just a prop for him to ask for donations. And I looked at some of the recent videos. He has renovated a few things. And and I've added up the totals. He has, he might have spent up to $30,000 to $50,000 on renovating the school. He did the gym in one of the buildings, and so you can play basketball because, of course, that's culturally important um, for African Americans. And then he's done some painting. He's put in some fire doors. He's fixed things here and there. He got the AC running, which was probably the most expensive he's done at $20,000 to $40,000. That might have cost somewhere around order of magnitude. And he's got a few things fixed, right? So he spent some money, but he's gotten probably in excess of $1.5 million in donations over the years. So most of the money is missing. And he does these update videos uh, on his social media saying, "Hey, look, we're painting the school. This is great. It's going to open any moment now, and we're just putting on the paint, and nothing else is fixed." And so he's spending like maybe $300 or $400 in paint. Or paint supplies he's got there to make the social media video, and then he says, "Well, hit the Cash App, keep donating, folks." And he has he's told people that he makes about $125,000 a year on average in donations. So that's what he takes in, and he spends very little of that. Um, just puts a show on for the media. We have, I mean, we have some evidence that the authorities have been notified. Apparently, he's been reported. He says he's been reported. He says he's been audited, but I don't think he's been audited by the IRS. He has been audited by a local authority and in Pennsylvania, or which is not like a full financial audit. But
Mhm.
yeah, so what I think is going on, he's claiming this tax exempt status because on the basis of being a school, right? That's what it says on Form 990. I'm a school, but is he a school? Because for he bought the buildings in 2019, so for 6 years now, there's been no school activity. So it's not a school.
Right.
You know, it is maybe an educational organization an aspirational educational organization, but to claim on the tax form that it is a school would be false and most likely get him in trouble because it's not a school. There's been no teaching going on. He doesn't have a board. There's no school board. The only single person responsible for his organization is himself. And of course, Why do you think he doesn't want to bring on a board of people?
Well, he doesn't want any oversight because they're
Yeah.
going to ask him to, you know, where are the, what is the account balances, that thing,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want that. I mean, and they can also say no, and he doesn't want anybody to be able to say no to any of his ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's a dead giveaway. I This happens a lot, and a lot of people, they have really good intentions. He doesn't, but well, let me say, maybe at the very beginning, he really did think that he could do this. So what you do is you get this idea for a school, and he raises money and he blows his money trying to buy the property, and he just didn't understand that that's a small part of a school's expenses. And I'm being charitable here, because let's face it, this was probably a fraud from the very get-go. But it happens to a lot of people, and they don't understand that. Teachers are expensive. I mean, yes, private schools don't pay much, but it's still a lot of money, and you have to develop curriculum that doesn't come cheap, and it just becomes insurmountable. You have to bring in a lot of money every year to just stay afloat. And I know that because I wrote the charter for a charter academy where
Mm-hmm.
we had to line up the budgets and all that kind of stuff. And so you have to think this thing through. If you don't have a 5-year plan, then you have
You
no business opening a school.
and you can't do that alone because there's too much work to do any of this
Oh,
alone, right?
it's
There's
insane.
just no way. Yeah.
I actually had the idea once of opening up an NRA oriented high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and now people say, "Oh my gosh, you're going to have kids carrying guns around." No, that was not the purpose. The purpose was to elevate the Second Amendment, the Constitution, essentially, and center a school around it. But you would still have math and science and history, but it would all be related to firearms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in and I had this thing all lined up, and I was hoping the NRA would jump on that,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't get the NRA to even see me. I didn't really try that hard, to be honest with you. But I also knew that there was no freaking way that I was going to be able to open this school without monster financial backing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and a lot of these guys, they think that, well, if I get enough volunteers, I can make this work. You can't. Um, a teacher
It's
takes
just a lot
a
of work.
million. Yeah,
And being a school, there are so many regulatory requirements. You have to have a whole compliance person to make sure that you're meeting all of these standards, and you have to know what the standards are, and then meet those standards. And frankly, one person can't do that.
right. And then you get a kid hit crossing the street, and it, and the other thing is, they think that they can run a school on the side. No, you're going to devote every hour of your day into running that school, and you're going to have people alongside you who are going to devote all their time towards it. It's a lot of work, but
So
they don't see it.
if he had genuine interest in actually starting a school, something would have already happened. One building would have been, because he needs an occupancy permit. He doesn't have that. I don't know if he does have some running water. I don't know if the bathrooms work, but that's what you would work on, so that you can open, say, one classroom, and you just do a little a daycare or something to bring in some money and start up the administrative process. So you can kind of get familiarized with the administrative requirements of running a school just on a small scale. Or you could do a few activities in the gym that he's renovated. But he can't have activities in the gym because it's not permitted. And if he's not working on the permit, and the reason he's not working on the permit, because he can't show it in his social media. It doesn't, if he shows a renovated um, gym, which he does, and frankly it was minor renovations that he did on there, then uh, then he can show that. He can show off, saying, "Hey, I'm doing this. Keep donating. Keep donating." The fact that nobody can actually go in the gym legally, no, that's not something he thinks about.
I do have a lot of videos on the school, the Marcus Garvey, whatever it is, and including a recent one on a video that he posted on the school website that's an absolute side splitter. It's hilarious. And it gives you an idea about how he thinks. One of the most racist things I've ever seen.